Do you want more? More time, more balance, more love, more sex, more money, more real, and less bullshit? This is the Women Wanting More podcast with Dr. Karen Osborne. Real life, real stories, plus real tips to get you more of what you want.
Okay, sister, getting some good heat coming off my boxing training with this episode, so here we go. Today's episode, get off the motherfucking fence. Now, this is coming off a Facebook post that I put up on my personal page last night, put it on the Women Wanting More Facebook page as well, about two individuals that had an agreement with me to get back to me, to return something, to return a I'm all in, with one of my coaching programs, and did not respond back. One, really late, but pretty certain it was because of prompting from the message that I sent. But so this isn't going to be about keeping agreements. I've had this discussion before in a couple different podcast episodes. Like, you get that, right? Agreements. Like, keep your fucking agreements. There's no reasons, there's no excuses. Like, all that stuff is invalid and irrelevant. If you make a powerful agreement with another human being, with your spouse, with your children, you keep it, no matter what. Like, period. There's no kind of any other story. Like, this would be a short episode if I go off on that one again. Keep your agreements. Yeah, but what if they had a reason why? Keep your fucking agreements. And if for some reason you cannot follow through with an agreement, like something, something's happened. You had a car accident or, like, of course, I get it. Someone's died in your family. Totally understandable. But for the most part, the reasons and excuses that people give for not following through with their commitments and their agreements is absolute bullshit. And we live in a world now that coddles bullshit, that tolerates bullshit. Oh, I understand. I know, life is so hard. It's not your fault. It's okay when you have time. Bullshit. You're not honoring anybody by letting them get away with that shit. They have lots of friends and family that are doing that for them. You really want to serve that person well, have them honor that agreement. Honor agreements. But here's the bigger part of this. So I put up this post, and it generated some heat. And, it wasn't really my intention as much, but I know at times when I post things that are, what I'm going to say, not on the fence. So here's how most of the world works, right? So they might, have an opinion about something, but saying, well, but everybody has an opinion, and, everyone should be respected, and you should love everybody, and, everyone's opinion matters. Because they're so afraid of pissing people off. They're so afraid of being rejected. They're so afraid of not being liked. They're so afraid of upsetting somebody that they're going to actually squash their own thoughts, feelings, beliefs, truths, just to make somebody else feel good. Isn't that fucking awesome? Aren't you great? Sitting on top of the motherfucking fence. Sitting on top of the fence. Not one side, not the other side, just kind of right in the middle. And that's fine if that's where you want to live. But I'm telling you right now, sister, if you want to do something in this world, if you feel called to more, if you feel inspired to take action, if you are a creator, a producer, if you want to actually do something in this world, and this can be from business, parenting, your health, then you're going to have to get off the motherfucking fence. You will. And you will also have to understand that there are some people's feathers that you're going to ruffle. And often, when you make a bold stance, by the way, it has nothing to do with you. Nothing to do with you. You have simply triggered something within that individual that is true for them. So for the people that said, well, that's kind of harsh, and I had someone on the Women Wanting More Facebook page that said, oh, I would never hire you as a mentor and coach, and I'm like, great, you know what, you would actually never be a fit. And I don't say that as fuck you, you'd never be a fit. Seriously, just well, you'd never be a fit. Because I ain't no motherfucking life coach. I'm going to tell women the truth with love, with respect, with honor. And it doesn't happen by me being on the fence. And I'm more than willing, and I took a stand in my life that I'm going to stand for the truth more than I stand for being liked. that I'm going to stand for speaking my mind and being who I truly am versus trying to be a version that I think is okay for everybody to tolerate. Because I had people for years tell me to tone it down. I even had someone, what did someone put in that post today? Maybe I was too aggressive. That's too harsh. That's too harsh. So then I should instead make nice in the sandbox with everybody, because that is the, quote, right thing to do. Not in my world, sister. And I'm not saying that you have to do something like cure cancer or be Gandhi or, do something like be a Steve Jobs and create. Look you can create whatever you want in your world and make a fucking difference. We are here in this world with a life to use it. And are you using it or are you wasting it because you're so fucking afraid of what everybody thinks of you? Like, really, there just becomes a time where you just have to slap yourself and say fucking stop it. Or maybe you're hearing these words right now and it'll ring true for you, finally. And you decide to get off that motherfucking fence. And I know that just by recording this podcast, just by saying motherfucking, just by swearing with some people, I offend them. It's totally all right by me. Because it is who I am. It is who I am. I am intense. I am aggressive. It is who I am. I am bold. I can be definitely in your face. And you know what? It works for me. It works for me. It works for me in my marriage. My husband and I go toe-to-toe many times. And for the longest time, he did not actually fight back about it. He just kind of took it. And when he first started to really just kind of like fight back, I shouldn't say that he took it. That's not really a fair statement towards my husband. He would just not really say much. Right? We had really different styles of how we fought, of how we had disagreements, of how we had arguments. And mine was really in your face and his was not. And I didn't really respect that. And I didn't respect how he grew up in his family and what the yelling and screaming meant in his house and how people were going to get hurt if that happened. Like, I didn't understand that. And so I would just turn on. I would be more intense and more aggressive. He has a very different way at approaching confrontation. And he is not afraid to stand up to me. Our marriage is better because of it, because we tell the truth. Because we, as Garrett J. White would say, we go to war, right? We're not afraid to be honest and real with each other. And that means at times that we're going to piss each other off. That's how it works. If you want to constantly make people happy with your relationships, with your kids, with your business or work, with your health, then just stay on the fence. And I love you, sister, if you want to be, the fence sitter, we'll call you, right? You want to be a fence sitter, that's cool. But if you want something different, if you want something more, if you have a message to deliver, if you have it, the way that you want to live your life is not the status quo, you don't want to be a fence sitter, then you're going to have to decide which fucking side that you're going to be on. Get off the motherfucking fence. There are plenty of fence sitters in this world. And if you are not one of them, it's about fucking damn time that you stop doing it. And I'm saying this to you harshly, sister, because, and that person was right. We're going to call it harsh. I don't care. Judge me, label it, whatever. Because I honor you and I love you. See, in my marriage for years, I tolerated stuff that was not okay with me. I just went, well, this is the way marriage is supposed to be, so I'll just numb and sedate and not really say much, and I'll just kind of squash it all. And that got me a marriage of my husband, who was like my roommate. Loved each other. But the love that we now feel and the connection that we now have is far deeper than it ever was. And we've been together for 24 years now. 24. Married for 16 and a half. It didn't happen by being on the fence. It happened by us being real with each other. By us having honest conversations. By both stepping into our own power. Because this is really what this is all about, right? This conversation is if you want to be a powerful human being, it doesn't happen by sitting on the fence. It just doesn't. So here is your more tip for today, because I could go off on this for like hours, sister. So here's your more tip for today. What are you sitting on the fence about that you really don't want to be? that you want to take a bold stand, that you want to take action, that you want your life to be something different? Is it with your marriage? Is it with your health? Is it with your business? Is it with another relationship? Maybe how you parent? Like, what is that side of the fence that you need to hop onto and hop off of the fence to make that shit happen? Be prepared to have other people not like what you're doing. Not all of them, but you'll have a few. They won't like it because they're like, wait a second. It's like the crabs in the bucket. I talked about this analogy in a recent podcast episode. They're like, wait a second. But the fence, look, it's warm and it's cozy up here. Just sit on it. See, it's comfortable. This is where you're just sitting. It's still warm where you just were. Come on back. Come on back and sit with me on the fence. See, when you jump off and take a stand on either side, you're not going to be like others. You're going to be like those in the world that want to create change. Those in the world that want something more within their life. Women wanting more. I created this podcast for you, sister. For you that says, I want more within my fucking life and I don't know how to get it. And for those of you that take this step further, that have applied to coach with me, this is the work that we do. And this is not me pushing you to do things. This is about me listening and you getting so clear on what you want and why it matters and being prepared to do what is required, making agreements, keeping commitments, and getting off the fucking fence. Because your life will stay the same if you stay the same. If you want it to change, you need to change. You need to get off the fence. So where is that right now that you were on the fence that you want to get off? And here's the one thing you can do with it. One action step to move towards that. One, I'm not saying you got to like burn the fence down. Just take one step, sister, that will move you towards getting off the fence, that will move you towards the stance that you want to take, the action that you want to take, the execution that you want within your life, and the life that you want to start living. This is not pie in the sky bullshit. This is exactly the methodology, exactly what I've learned from mentors and coaches that I'm now teaching back to you. But see, I've invested several tens of thousands of dollars. Last year alone, I invested about $50,000, pardon me, this year, 2016, but $50,000 in my own personal coaching. US, which for me in Canadian is about like 65 grand. So you get to get this back. Pieces of it for free here in the podcast. And those women that choose to coach with me, I get to save you a boatload of time and money to get you there faster. To get you there faster with how I coach, one-on-one, in groups. And yes, at my live event, you're going to see what happens when you head over. Here's what I want you to do. Head over to drkarenosborn.com/live event. And you're going to see what happens with 6 women when they got off the fence. When they took a stand and got clear on what they wanted and got clear on why it mattered and were willing to actually make a commitment and declare what they wanted within their life. So when you head over to drkarenosborn.com/live event, you're going to enter in your email and name. You're going to get access immediately to the Women Wanting More live event movie. This happened just 2 months ago in Victoria, BC, Canada, here where I live. Beautiful BC. And you're going to see then 5 of the 6 women that were actually there, interviews after the event, 4 to 6 weeks later, like what still transpired, the power that still happens with them actually being off of the fence, sisters. So head over to drkarenosborn.com/live event, watch the movie, the post-event interviews, and you'll have a chance to apply. If you don't want to sit on the fence anymore, this is the place for you to start, sister. And it'll happen intensely in 2.5 days. I promise you that. So I will talk to the next episode, sister. A life of more is just one step away from you doing the fucking work every single day. I love and appreciate you.
To get the show notes of each Women Wanting More episode, including the How to Get More tip, subscribe to the newsletter at drkarenosborn.com/newsletter.